Hey guys, welcome back to the tribe.
Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. We truly appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
As you can see, we are still in Luxor, and you can hear the noise in the background. We actually are on a boat, so we've been living on a boat for about 2 months now, right? Coming up
about a month.
Is it a month?
Yeah, it'll be a month.
Oh, it is a month.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Feels like 2 months.
It does feel like 2 months. It does feel like 2 months, but we've been living on a boat for the past month, and we've been just basically experiencing that boat life.
So the topic of today is the internet shaping our identity?
Right. But before we get started, we're going to start with the affirmation of the day.
Yes, that's right, the affirmation of the day. The affirmation of the day is, I am highly favored.
I am highly favored.
I am highly favored.
As we see all of these different topics of people who are going on the internet and they are basically creating their identity based off of trends, based off of other people, based off of what they see. So as we see this, we start to ask ourselves, are we shaping our identity based off of what we see and what is basically being programmed to us?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think we all have this in us, like programming, like you just said. There's a program running us as human beings. When we watch things, we become programmed. When we hear things, we become programmed. So when you're watching or you're scrolling for hours on end, you're hearing other people's perspectives, their lives, and the stories and all those things. You might see something and like, oh, I can do that. I want to do that. Like for the most part, we don't know who we are really beyond all of that. Like even beyond the internet just shapes it even more. But beyond the internet, me and Zoni were having a conversation about it yesterday, about people being fake. Yeah. It's like we don't know who we are ultimately as human beings, because we shaped our lives based on our car or our house or our relationship or whatever it is that we went through became our identity. And now that we have the internet and we're like all online, it's like, who are we really? Who are we when we put our phones down?
Right. And how do we distinguish our real life reality selves versus our fake selves? I mean, obviously we had the conversation yesterday, even got on the topic of streamers.
Yeah.
You have people who go online and some people are characters, so like they may not actually be like that in real life. So it's like, how do you understand and figure out the authenticity of the person that you are admiring or you're looking up to or you're watching? We're seeing so many different people reveal themselves that we might have not had any idea of this person's reality or what they were going through. So we pose the question, are we shaping our identity based off of what we see? Because it's so easy for people to get into the glamorized lifestyle, like the luxury lifestyle. Oh, okay, I see this person, they're driving a Lamborghini, or they're living in Miami, or they have all of these designer clothes, so I want to emulate the same type of lifestyle. But what did we just find out? We found out that a lot of the clothes, as an example, people were paying thousands of dollars. You can get it for a couple of $100 or even less than $100. So we're learning this fake facade that has been put on Front Street for so long. We're learning that there are people that, are not necessarily doing the same things, and they understand the reality of the fakeness. They understand the reality of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the desire for fame, money is at an all-time high, and the ability to get the fame and the money, or the fame more than the money, the ability to get the fame is easier than it was in the early 2000s, 90s, the 80s. You really had to put in work, and you really had to be discovered. Now I can just pick my phone up, or I can just turn on my DJI and talk to the world. and the world can, if they resonate with it or not, make me famous.
Right.
Most of the time, people want that more than they want anything else in their lives. They don't
Right.
care about anything else. I just want the fame, I want the glow, I want the light, I want people to know my name. And that causes people to create characters. That is like you get incentivized to create a
Yeah.
character because I'm gonna get some fame, or I'll get incentivized to create a character because I might get some type of monetary reward from it. And that really does shape our realities. It shapes all of us. It shapes me. You know what I mean? Like, I know that I'm as authentic as I possibly can be, but at the same time, we all play a role. Like, when we're coming on here, we're talking, you know, like, when the camera's off, how are you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what are you saying for real? And because once you press that red button, man, we, it's like our bodies, our biological, like, tendencies and DNA
Yeah.
switch on. It's like you're a whole different fucking human.
Yeah.
So, it really gets like that, and you can see it in the world. And I do believe that our identities are being shaped, not only our physical identity, but our spiritual identities
Yeah.
are being shaped by the internet and going online. And man, it's troubling in one sense, but at the same time, there is another side to it. There is like I said, a spiritual component to it, because there are people who are very spiritual who go online and talk about the nature of reality, which could help people as well. So
Right.
it's a balance.
It definitely is a balance, and I like the fact that you touched on, with the spiritual aspect, like you're starting to see a lot of people come more into themselves, but you're starting to see people choose a side, whether it's, evil or it's good.
Material
So,
or spirit.
exactly. So, like, as we continue to watch and see and really look at, like, some of our neighbors reveal themselves to the world, it's it's up to you to not necessarily fall into that trap. You can control how you shape or how you present yourself, or basically how you play into these roles, that is authentic to you. Again, like individuality, it's so crazy. I was on Spaces the other day, and I was talking about, I love how, for example, the blockchain or XRP, being in the Web3 community, it is allowing people to have individuality and not necessarily being or repeating and acting like other people. Like, I feel like in the Web2 reality, especially with Instagram and influencers, and you just got to see people mimic an already started trend, and then because they mimicked it, I mean, there was a point in time you couldn't you couldn't distinguish certain people from each other because of the personality, because of the look, because of how they dress. So you started to see that, and BBLs is a big one. Not having that individuality on a physical note. So again, you see people who, they got on this trend, and they got implants and stuff like that, and now you're seeing a lot of people regret the choices that they made, telling young people specifically, hey, like, do not fall into this, because I was peer pressured due to society or guys or girlfriends or people that I was with that put me in this position of where I am today. So you see that, and you see how that trickles down, but it's extremely important to not let these moments and let these trends, these short time trends, define you and your character and define who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, because the internet, I mean, as long as there's no electromagnetic pulse like an EMP attack, the internet's gonna be here.
Right.
And we're gonna be able to see that progression. We're gonna see how you were acting, and everybody has the right to change, but the point is not to fall into it, because ultimately the road that it seems to be leading down is Black Mirror. We watch Black Mirror all the
Black
time.
Mirror,
You can
man.
kind of tell that the society itself is turning into Black Mirror, especially with the streaming. There's a
yeah.
couple of movies, including Black Mirror, that show us that streaming you'll be like stuck in a house almost, to the point where it's like, where else is there to go?
Right.
And what else is there to do besides stream myself to other people who are, we're like all, it's like the phones and the internet is its own universe. It's
Yeah.
literally its own universe. I catch myself feeling how deeply I get into the phone, and then when I look up at life, I'm like, whoa, like life is happening around me while I'm in this phone, which is its own universe. And like our souls are like getting captured by this digital universe. That's why it's nice to get away, to meditate, to go within yourself, to contemplate and things like that. And I really want to touch on something really quickly. Was Zoni brought up Web3, and she brought up the fact that people are able to have the sense of individuality, and I wanted to touch on the fact that in the Web2 reality, there's what we call incentives. You're incentivized to do a certain thing, say a certain thing, and be a certain way, because those who gatekeep and control the industry say this goes, and this goes. So if I want to be in this industry, I have to rap like this. I have to have this type of look. I have to be this type of person. In the Web3 reality, this freedom is directed to consumer, so I could just be myself. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people who, like, you know, capitulate to whatever is going on, but for me, it's like, nah, I get to be myself. I can rap how I want. I can express myself. I can do my thing without feeling pressured to be somebody that I'm not.
Right, and we're seeing that often, a lot of people no longer being politically correct, right? Because, again, you know, some of our elders, from what we've seen, it's just like, whoa, like, you know, a lot of them are not politically correct. And, you know, I think this pressure, especially when it came to, like, millennials and, like, having to speak a certain way or carry yourself a certain way or get a certain job, or, you know, having all of these attributes that basically tell you that you're good enough. We're finding that in other spaces, again, going back to Web3, you don't have to try so hard. People just gravitate to you because of your authentic self. So, you know, really being aware of that it's just been such an eye-opener, and it's been such a beautiful journey to really experience.
I agree, 100%.
Segue. Okay, so the word of the day is fathomable.
Fathomable.
Fathomable. Excuse me. Fathomable, just like the word. Okay. Easy, which means easy to understand.
Easy to understand. It's one of my favorite words. Can't even fathom that.
Okay. So did you want to take the lead on the sentence?
Oh, a sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
The nature of the universe is sometimes. Hold on. The nature of the universe is sometimes not fathomable. The nature of the universe is sometimes not fathomable.
Okay. I can see that. You know, going back to the topic, you know, how the internet is now designing our identity because of what we see, because of what we put out there, because of how we address certain situations, how we see certain situations. And again, I use the BBL as a prime example, but there are so many other examples, right? Streaming we use as an example. And also just like, you know, just seeing how people react and how people are. Like, I see this new trend about like soft life. Like, if you wear like a pretty disturbing wig, you get a certain type of treatment, like hard wig, soft life, I believe it is. And I've seen so many people poke fun, but then I've seen some people like really take it serious and like explain how their lives have changed, and you know, now they're going to start utilizing having a hard wig in order to get
a hard wig. What is that? Like an actual literal wig?
Yeah. So like you have like a really messed up wig that doesn't necessarily go with your texture. Okay. And you just put it on your head, or sometimes it's not even on.
It's like a helmet. Just throw it on real quick
helmet.
And just keep them on. Oh my
good,
God
good,
Almighty.
Good a helmet. It's like basically putting on a helmet, and then I've seen people like go out of their way to say, hey, like, this is gonna be my identity from now on. This is gonna be my lifestyle. So I can get favors by whether it's go to a restaurant or going to a bar to get a free drink or get a free meal. So it's like, you know, it's very interesting how people will distort their image and identity off of, you know, seeing somebody else do it, one, and then two, to get ahead in some kind of way to get some kind of perk.
Yeah, even in the trends and the conversations, like that's a trend, like a physical trend that you get off the internet, but then like the trends of the conversations, like we were talking about the one gorilla versus 100 men. It's like, even the conversations, like humanity is becoming like so concentrated, like
Yeah,
with thought.
predictable.
Yeah, because we're all on the internet. Like, did you see it? Yes, I saw it. We all saw it because we're not gonna not see it. Because at this point, we're all watching the same shit. Like our algorithms may be different, but there's like this one point where it's like, all right, we all at least have seen this. Like,
Right.
it's kind of it kind of just gives me the feeling like we're at the end. Like we're at the
Yeah.
end of this. Like what else is there? Like what else is there in regards to the way that we've been living with each other? Because now it's like it begs a deeper question. What are we doing here?
Right.
Like we've done it all. We've talked about it all.
Right.
Like now what? Like these questions have to start being asked, and I think that's where we're going as a species. Like what are we doing here, and what is our ultimate goal while we're here? I know it's not just a fucking stream all day.
Right.
Like it has to be something deep. Even with my own personal
Yeah.
goals, like I want to make my dreams come true, and I'm gonna make my dreams come true. But is that the reason why I'm here? Is to just to be a musician or to be this or be that? I know that there's something deeper than that. So like these are the questions that people are starting to ask now.
Yeah.
And
What's
man,
the purpose?
what's
my
purpose?
purpose?
Right.
What is, why am I in the position that I am in? Why am I working the job that I'm working? Why am I paying all of these bills to live the way that I'm living? People are asking these questions that they didn't ask before because we were so distracted by celebrity worship.
Mhm.
And we are now being faced and seeing the realities of some of the people that we might have idolized and glorified to be
Right.
like, whoa, like, so it goes back to, again, being on the internet and having that shape our identity. Because again, we've been watching, it's like watching TV for a very long time. And because you've been so programmed into thinking to live a certain way, again, in order for you to be successful, like, you have to look a certain way, you have to act a certain way. And it's like seeing that facade kind of like wash away and seeing how certain people really act, you're like, whoa, like, monsters, so it makes you really kind of take a step back. And it's so interesting that we're in the times of um how things have been so digitized. Like, we've become so desensitized and digitized when it comes to reality and technology and social media, where we don't often see how, because of us playing a part within that reality, how that has now, obviously become something that has
Impacted us.
impacted us and impacted us in a way where it has become our identity. So breaking through of not necessarily having that is pretty cool.
I agree 100%, man. Like, you can go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're coming to a point. I feel like now, like, and I'm glad that we had this conversation because it's needed to be had. Like, we can ignore it all we want, but we're at a point right now as a human species, like, that there are some real deep questions that we got to ask ourselves and ask each other. I think we're on the verge of doing that. Like, I think people are really like, no, what the fuck are we doing?
What the fuck
What's
are we
going
doing?
on? Let's question this, and yeah.
Okay, so the Arabic phrase of the day is ayana ant.
Aina ant.
Ayana ant, which means where are you?
Where are you?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to close out this topic, again, I feel like everybody has this some way, has come across this, has questioned their identity, has questioned themselves, has questioned um, their placement in society. Um, what I'll say is, again, it is extremely important to use discernment. Do not be easily fooled and gullible to follow after people who you personally believe are good people or people that you can like relate to or whatever, because even though they're presenting this good character, they may not necessarily be a good person, behind closed doors when they're off camera, when a person is off camera. So it is extremely important for you to just be aware and not be easily influenced. And when you start to, for example, promote yourself and record yourself and go online, or just step out. As soon as you step out of your home and you close that door and you step out into the real world, how do you want to be treated, and how do you want to be received in the world? I think that's something that a lot more people should have, that consciousness. And not, again, not, oh, I want to be rich and famous and I want to have all this money. And no, really think of hard questions. How do you want to be as a human being? How do you want to be towards people? How do you want your family and your legacy to be once you get to a certain place? These are certain things that you should be asking, and just really making sure that you're not only in a place where you are, these bugs is crazy out here, just a side note.
Heavy.
But not not only about your legacy, but also too, like, how you want to be remembered. I think that's truly what should be a question that should be something that you ask upon yourself.
Yeah, it's time to go within. That's really the biggest thing for me. It's time to go within. It's time to do our work, meaning authenticity, remembering who we are, reminding ourselves of who we are, beyond the clout, beyond the cars, beyond the clothes, beyond all that. Like, that's not who we are. That's just what we built as a society. And you can build any types of societies. You look around the world, people live differently everywhere. But like, we're starting to just become just straight carbon copies of like the next. And I'm actually,
Clones.
Yeah, clones. And I'm actually gonna make a funny video about that on TikTok soon. So we really do have to go within ourselves, really check ourselves, and stay off the phones for a little while. Like, look out, go get in the sun, go watch The View, go like get into reality for a while to really feel yourself. We're really running away from our feelings is really what's happening when we scroll for hours. I do it, we all do it. Like, nobody is like immune to it.
Right.
But
guilty.
We gotta actually face it. Once we face it, we'll be fine, and we'll be better humans, and we'll create a more powerful society that I believe that we're headed towards. Regardless, that's what I believe. But it's nice to have these conversations with people who this might not even be a thought in their heads.
Right.
Yeah.
Aw, that was great.
That was really good.
So, thank you guys so much for tuning into our channel. I know we've been up and down.
Sporadic.
Yeah, sporadic.
But we've been working on our own stuff. Like, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Literally. So, it's a little bit challenging now because we're getting so much momentum on other platforms. So sometimes it's hard to actually sit down and actually collect our thoughts and to really contribute to the tribe. But we want to say that we really appreciate everyone that has been along for the journey and that just continues to show up and just support us. We truly appreciate it. So we'll make it our mission and our effort as much as we can, especially while we're out here. We're going to be out here for some time. And it's pretty incredible to be able to be in Egypt, and some of the things that we've been experiencing, have you guys along on the journey. So, thank you again. And until next time, we'll see you soon. So stay tuned.
That was good.
That was good.